How's it going, guys? We'll be starting very soon. I'm just going to give people a couple of minutes to get in, let YouTube do its notifications thing, and then we'll be starting in a minute. So if you could just hold on for a few minutes, and we'll be starting then. Welcome to the stream, guys. We'll be starting in just a sec. I'm literally going to give people a couple minutes, and then we'll be starting pretty much bang on 12. I think we've got literally about a minute left to go. So just hold on, and we'll be there in a second. How's it going, guys? I thought I'd better start because someone said it was 7 p.m. here in Australia. So if you want to go to bed, I'm sorry. Don't want to keep you up, you know. How's it going? Welcome back to the stream. We're going to be doing something quite similar to what we did last week, with a bit of a twist. So if you were here last week, we basically showed a video and I showed you some behind the scenes stuff. That was about 20 minutes long. It was kind of sort of showing you what it takes to get into a location sometimes and how much we kind of spend just getting places someplace rather than, you know, actually filming them. Once you're inside, that's kind of the easy bit. But today's one is a topic-based video. So this isn't actually very long. It's about 2 or 3 minutes long in total. It's not very long. So I'll show the video and then I'll go through and talk after I've shown the video and we'll talk about the bits in it. And we've got this whole subject around today's stream, which is about, do you need to ask permission to go and explore abandoned buildings, or should you go and ask permission to explore abandoned buildings? Now, let me start off by saying yes. Yes, you should. Now, with that out of the way, me saying yes, you should ask permission, doesn't necessarily mean that we do. And I'll explain why throughout the stream. So let me just check the chat. Is everything okay? Is the audio okay first before we start? Can you hear me all right? Not too loud, too quiet, etc. It should be fine. I have tested this all, but you never know. Things always go wrong. What are you saying? I know you shouldn't have to ask to explore any abandoned places. Should be your human right to explore home. See, this is why I wanted to do this today, because there are a lot of different opinions on this. Now, it's a very grey area, and obviously, country to country, there's changes. So depending on where you live, you might have a different idea about whether you should or whether you have to, etc. It's a very widespread topic, which is why I thought, even though I'm only showing like a 2 or 3 minute video today, we could talk about this for literally hours. So that's not hours. We're not going to talk about this for hours. We're going to go for about an hour probably. So we'll talk about this today and go through some bits and see what you guys think. Yes, Spot on, can hear you. Sound is okay. All fine. Excellent. Brilliant. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, like I said, I'm going to start off by playing the video, and I'm not going to talk. Like I said, it's only 2 or 3 minutes, and then I'm going to go back and we'll start again, and I'll go through some certain bits. So if I show you the video first of all, I have to mute me so I'm not too loud. Sometimes you get background noise and stuff. So. Skipper's on the way. He's on the roof somewhere. Actually, before we carry on, I should probably say this is from a explore that we went to. It's a swimming pool that you have probably seen. If you've watched Neil's channel, you've probably seen this video already. I know I said I was going to pause it, sorry. But in the description of this video, if you want to check out the actual explore of this place, I didn't get into it, unfortunately, as you'll see in a second. Well, I kind of did get into it, sort of. But if you want to check out the full explore, there's a link for Neil's video down below. You can go check that out at some point. But yeah, so basically this was a swimming pool that we went to go and have a look at. It had been all over Facebook, which usually means that we don't have long until it's getting sealed. We turned up and there was people already seeing the place. So I forgot to give us some background on this, so I'll shut up now.
There you go. We would do this and we don't do it.
I don't mind.
Hello. Hello. Hey mate. Is there any chance we will be able to come in and take some pictures? We're urban explorers. We're proper.
We don't smash stuff up.
Anything like that.
Yeah.
I actually do this for a full-time job. So we're not kids that are just going to come in and wreck the place. Literally, we just want to take some pictures, maybe a short video. I don't know how long have you got here today?
I'm not sure yet. Depends what materials we've got. So we're just basically building it up.
Yeah, I can see that the
Yeah.
kids have been here smashing it
Yeah.
out.
I mean, technically,
I mean, you couldn't
No
turn a
one's-
blind eye and you haven't seen us come in it.
no one's allowed in here. But
Yeah.
how long do you think it was going to be?
Could do it in half an hour, you know, half an
Yeah,
hour.
we could probably run around quickly, do it in half an hour. And sort of drink or something out if you want.
If you want our details, I've got business cards, you've got details and stuff like that, so we do.
Yeah. I mean, technically, we're not allowed to let anyone in.
Yeah.
So it's a bit awkward.
I mean, you could pretend you haven't seen us. How long you don't know how long you're here for?
Well, the trouble is, there's all sorts of things that have been damaged all the way around the building.
Yeah.
So the stuff that's wet. If you were out there with you are sort of thing, it's one thing, but obviously we can't let you out. If you were in, we can't really let you out of the site. So,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, we can just film that bit if that's all right. I mean, yeah, I don't mind.
Also, I don't want to get you guys in trouble. So that's
Yeah.
the most priority. We don't want to get you in trouble. So it's up to you. You know, you can either say yes or say no. If you say no, we'll go. If you say yes, we'll do our thing, and then.
you do what you want to do in about 10 minutes or something. That's fairly quick if it's just.
10 minutes is kind of a bit fine.
Yeah, it's a little bit fine for minutes.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to say no, unfortunately.
Okay.
Okay, all right, no problem. Cheers.
All
I
right.
thought we'd ask anyway.
Yeah,
Right,
worth an
cheers.
ask. It's 10 minutes. Come on, dude. You're going to be longer than 10 minutes. That's really can't hear me. Right, so before I talk about that, does anybody want to say anything about that? Have you got any thoughts and feelings about that? You know, how do you think it went? Do you think we went wrong anywhere, etc.? What do you guys think of that little encounter? Have you guys ever come across something like, I mean, if you're exploring, do you happen to run into some people sometimes and have to kind of resort to asking? Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to check the chat for a second because I've got a few comments coming through. See, that's the thing. They're being nice with you. That's different. I've been busted exploring. They take one look at me, covered head to toe in ink, and they're straight off kicking off at me. So yeah, obviously every encounter is different. We've had this before. It's a shame because quite often I don't tend to film them. I know that when I was at Lucy's house, we explored round there and then bumped into the neighbours who basically turned around and said that they were looking after the place, which was absolute rubbish, basically. They just had enough of people turning up there and got quite arsy with us. And after talking for a while and sort of getting to know who you were and stuff, they sort of calmed down. And that seems to be quite a common thing. But we're obviously not talking about the times that you get caught today. We're talking about permission, asking permission before you go into a place. It's kind of what the focus is of today's video. So in terms of this particular one, we had actually walked around the whole building first. I have cut it down, obviously, so you guys don't just... because the GoPro is in my pocket, so I'm not going to show you, like, you know, me walking around for 5-10 minutes with nothing for you to see except the inside of my pocket. So basically, we got here and we knew that it had been over Facebook, and a lot of people had been here already. So we were kind of assuming that there was a possibility there might be a way in, or we'd have got there too late. Now, in terms of other explores, in terms of, like, say, houses, mansions that are private residents, it's even more difficult to try and get permission. And this is kind of what I think is, yes, everyone knows they should ask permission, but sometimes finding someone who actually owns the place is a completely different matter. It's not that simple to sort of just turn up at an abandoned house. I mean, it's abandoned for a reason, especially some of the ones you've seen us do. They can be abandoned for sort of 10, 20, even more than that sometimes, years. And who are you going to ask? Who are you going to find to ask permission? You know, unless you turn up and there is security on site or somebody sealing it and stuff like that, who do you ask? Now, a lot of people say things like you can check the land registry and find out who owns it. And there's all those kind of... because I've got... my boss at work is an ex-police officer, so he's very much kind of like on that sort of side of the fence where you should probably ask permission and stuff. He knows what I do, by the way. He's not too worried about it, as long as I don't bring down his business and stuff like that. He's fine with that. Like, I'm not involving his business or anything. It's my personal time, my personal stuff I do. But there is a very grey area, because there's a lot of people that sit on the fence of you should absolutely ask permission, and there's people that say, well, that would be nice, but actually it's not as simple as that. So what are you guys saying in the comments? So what do you guys think? Like I said, what do you guys think of this particular clip? So if I go through this sort of slowly, and we can sort of talk about it a little bit. So like I said, we turned up here. It is a swimming pool, so it's a public building. Obviously, it's closed down, but it's a business rather than a residential property. So these sorts of things are usually looked after by administrators and stuff like that, or site. I don't know what you call them. Like, they are basically, there are people looking after the site. Sometimes people securing the site. So there is always the possibility someone's going to be there sealing the place up. You know that when you turn to a place. We've looked around the whole place and there's no other way in, and we come across this door, and at the very front of the building, this door is wide open, and you can see it's propped open as well. So that probably means there's somebody there, but we don't know that. We're just kind of like, should we try our luck and see if we can just get in through the open door? And obviously, as soon as we get in there, there's a guy straight away in there. So if I just show you this. So this is what we've seen, first of all. So there, right. So this is why this is the thumbnail, because it's quite an interesting shot. So we've just turned up, and there's obviously trespassers will be prosecuted signs. That's normal. That doesn't really mean anything. It's just kind of a warning. I know that a lot of people say, well, if there's signs up there that say trespassers will be prosecuted or keep out and stuff, you shouldn't go in there. Obviously, some people still do. We do sometimes. Because you don't know when these signs have been put up. They could have been put up like 10, 20 years ahead of time. Who knows? These ones look quite new, and you can see the boarding looks quite new as well. So we've turned up. There's an open door. It's propped open. We're thinking, right, there's probably someone around. So we'll try our luck and see if anyone's there. If not, we'll just, walk in, have a look around, take a few pictures. If someone shows up, be like, oh, hi, we're just doing some pictures, etc. Kind of what we do as we walk in. So we've literally, because the entire counter, I think, is about 2 minutes long. And you've got to imagine as well, when you first turn up somewhere and you've just bumped into someone that you don't know, they don't know you, and you've got literally a few seconds to try and grab their attention and for them not to tell you to F off, basically. You've got to sort of grab enough of their attention to come across friendly and not a threat immediately off the bat. And it's those sorts of things that are kind of difficult to do. What are you guys saying? A few comments going through now. It's easier to ask forgiveness than permission. Yeah, see, that's something that is very well known in the Urbex community. People do talk about that quite often because, again, so many times you turn up, even if it's like not a residential property, and there's no one there, you can't ask permission, you find a way in, people turn up and go, "Oh, what are you doing in here?" And again, you ask for forgiveness. "Oh, I'm so sorry. We just take pictures. This is what we're doing. We're not smashing the place." It's that kind of like thing. So that is kind of well known in the Urbex community. It is easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. But the question we're asking today is, it might be easier, but is it better? Or is it we should be asking permission for all these places, and if we can't, we shouldn't go in them? I know I'm not saying that I come on that side of things. I'm just saying it's a really good question, and I think open to debate. And that's what I wanted to talk about today. It can be possible to find the owner of abandoned buildings. You'd spend all your time chasing tail, trying to find someone. After all the effort you put into finding an owner, they can say no. Yes, and that is another issue as well. So when we go on these explores and we spend it's like the whole day exploring, we might explore, so like I said last week, about 6 places in a day. We might get in 2 of them. And a lot of people said about things like the history of places and stuff. It's always easier to do that after the fact. And it's kind of the same sort of thing for researching who owns places, because you can't spend days beforehand researching places that you might not get in. This is the problem. You might spend, a week looking up the who owns the place for 6 locations and get into 2 of them, or those 2 that you now asked permission for say no, and the 4 you didn't get into anyway, so you end up with no places. So it's a tough one. It really is. It's that fine line. Hey guys, sorry about got to nursery run. Not a problem. Thank you for popping by. Let's say that the building company was in no longer exists. Security companies manage and protect them, do not own it. Yes. Again, yeah, we've got people looking after properties. They are paid to look after them, to secure them and stuff. They don't own the buildings. It's not they usually have like administration companies and stuff like that, if anyone owns it at all. Sometimes it is the fact that the company that owned it has just gone bust and it's kind of been left to go derelict. So that's the whole point. Hey Neo. Where I used to live, there was 4 blocks of flats across the road, abandoned, slated for demolition. It had security, but they seemed to turn a blind eye to people exploring through them. Also quite common. The thing is, security is very dependent on where you go and which security company you talk to, what the person's like. Sometimes they'll be okay. Like, I think the guys in this particular video were pretty nice. They were okay. They did offer us 10 minutes, and we were a bit like, 10 minutes isn't really going to cut it. Like, the 10 minutes is about how long I spend setting up the gimbal. So it's going to take a little while longer than that to go around. And I think half an hour is pretty much the minimum to make a half decent video, unless you literally were just taking pictures, which I've done before as well. Because I think Reading Swimming Pool, which is now demolished, I went there with Warren a while back, and we asked about taking pictures. And I've actually got, I think, the last pictures of inside that building before it was demolished on my website. Because the Reading Gazette bloody used it without asking my permission. They didn't ask me at all. They just ripped the pictures of my website and then used them, bastards. Yo, Dan. Okay. To be on a conversation in between, I'll read them out. Also, you didn't see the sign. Yeah, no, we didn't see. What sign? What sign? I don't see it. Don't see any sign here at all. 100% I'm with you on finding out who or where you can get permission. I've been in the security industry for over 12 years, which helps when I meet people on explorers or get busted. Yeah, it's a fine line. It's very tough because believe it or not, I actually did have a security license as well. I never actually worked as a security officer, but I did the course, and I've been a sports steward as well for football. So I do know how the system works, and I do know what it's like. And it is all about first impressions and stuff like that. And trying to find permission beforehand, although is ideal, isn't always doable. And this is the thing. I think this is why it's a really good topic, because I think there are some people that don't understand that. There are some people that think that you can just go online, find a number, find an email or something and contact somebody. And it doesn't always work like that, because there isn't always somebody to talk to. That's the whole reason these places are left like they are. I mean, sometimes there is, yeah. But again, it's that time and effort beforehand that might be completely wasted before you actually get to film a video. Like obviously at the moment, my routine is like once a month, and that's low enough. Can you imagine if like I did this as well, and then didn't get any places for a year? Once a year, guys. We're going to do 2 videos a year every 6 months. You'll be all right with that? Yeah, I'm sure you guys would leave in your droves. You wouldn't want to watch. Sorry for bothering you. I won't return. What? Nah, as you would not see what's out there. Age of places are all different, so you don't know exactly. Yeah. Following around to watching last night. Oops. It's all right. It's fine. Doesn't matter when you watch it. This is why I thought these were kind of a good style, because you kind of can watch them whenever. It's nice if you guys can be here and I can interact with you, but at the same time, they're kind of a format that can be watched after the fact as well, which is quite cool. Whereas if you just do a Q&A live stream, it's not as interesting to watch back after. I went to the cinema, explored what I could, and then when I bumped into Worksman, I asked him if it was okay to go and explore down where he was working. He said no, so I said, okay, I'm off, bye. Yeah, and that's another thing I want to get into as well, because you might notice in this video, which I'll go through again in a second, but this video, as soon as they say we're going to have to say no, we go. And the reason for that is because once you hear that word no, or please leave, or anything like that implies that you have to leave the property, you must leave the property. So a lot of people we hear the whole line of it's civil trespass, it's not illegal, etc. You're right, but it becomes aggravated trespass, which is illegal, if you are asked to leave and then you refuse. So it's one of those things that if someone says the word no or please leave, etc., you should leave, because if you refuse to do so, you are then committing an offence, which they can call the police for and you can be arrested for. So it's a very fine line. That's why when people say no or whatever, we're like, okay, not a problem. We're not going to go, oh, come on, mate, oh, let us in. Oh. We have a bit of a whinge about it, as you heard. As we left, I was like, oh, 10 minutes, great. But we will leave. We'll do as we're told. So you've got to be mindful that you are trespassing, and you need to be a little bit submissive when it comes to that kind of thing. You can't be, if you're going to be agitative and like annoy them and be aggravating, and because at the end of the day, these are worksmen who are literally just here to do a job. 2 random people who they don't know have turned up and asked to take a look around the building when they've been told not to let anyone in. So you've got to look at it from their point of view as well. It's a tough one. Before he class, what are you on about, Neo? Remember to drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe. Thank you, Louise. Yeah, I always forget to do it. Yeah, please do leave a like and subscribe and all that jazz. My subscribers, because I'm doing less videos, have gone not way down. They're still going up, but getting less a month. Where I was getting like 100, 150 a month, getting about 25, 30 at the moment. It's really, really poor. So if you can share out the channel and subscribe, if you're not subscribed, that would be fantastic. Like I said, we're still trying to hit 10k. So that would be amazing. Oh, Neil's in the chat. How's it going? What's going on? I'm at work watching you. We do some work, though. What are you doing at work? Are you watching me at work for? Exactly, Neil. Yeah, that steps the boundary and breaks the law. Police can be involved. Yeah, exactly, yeah. That's what I'm saying. I think it's a very fine line. It's only like a very small thing you can do, and it can change how you're dealt with. So used to dealing with it at work. I have to look after places at being a mobile driver. Come across explorers and I tell chatting to them either genuine or just little kids who smash things. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right, so we continue to go through this video. So like I said, at this point we don't know there's someone there. So the first thing we do before we cross the threshold is say hello. Just to try and see if we can grab people's attention. Again, we're not trying to kind of like just walk in unnoticed. If someone's there, we're going to go, hi, hello. That's another thing as well. You've got to try and figure out what's best for the situation. Don't go into a place, sneak into a place quietly, try and make yourself heard, and people who are in there might be aware. For 2 reasons. 1, they know you're coming in, and 2, they're not going to be freaked out and hopefully not attack you or something like that, or scared themselves. That's the last thing you want as well, because that can also be a police thing. If someone thinks you're intimidating, that's also illegal. So you've got to be careful about how you do it.
Hello? Hey, mate. Is there any chance we will be able to come in and take some pictures?
Yeah, so again, straight away, we've established there's somebody there, and as soon as we've established that, our tacts change in an instant. Like, Colin's there, he knows, we all know this, so me as well, when you bump into someone, your tack changes. It goes from being sort of infiltrative to kind of finding a way in to immediately having a conversation, backing right down and talking. And it's interesting because this is the point where you kind of discover what the person's going to be like. Sometimes it can be they're nice, they're willing to talk to you. Sometimes it's they're dismissive, they want to get rid of you. And other times they can get quite aggressive. It depends on the person. This person, I would say, is probably more dismissive. He does kind of stop us and listen a little bit in the end, but he's quite dismissive in that he wants to get on with his job. He doesn't know who we are. He wants us out of here, basically. But he's nice about it, which is good.
We're urban explorers. We're proper.
We don't smash stuff, are we?
Anything like that.
Yeah, so again, as we said here, you could tell people who are kids and genuine. Again, we've got maybe 10, 20, 30 seconds to try and establish a rapport with the guy and sort of say, this is who we are, this is what we're doing here, we're not here to smash things. That's kind of important to let him know that we're not just randomly in here. We'll happily sit here and talk to him, and not a threat. Is that not a threat? I'm not intimidating.
Yeah.
I actually do this for a full-time job, so we're not kids that are just going to come in and wreck the place. Literally, just want to take some pictures, maybe a short video. I don't know how long have you got here today.
I'm not sure yet. Depends what materials we've got. So we're just basically building it up.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
Kids have been here smashing it
Yeah.
out.
I mean, technically.
I mean, you couldn't turn a blind eye and you haven't seen us come in it.
No.
So that bit there, right? I will say it's probably a bit, in my opinion, that probably shouldn't have said. Colin does go, well, you could turn a blind eye. And that always sounds, to me, that always sounds a little bit dodgy. Like there is something to turn a blind eye to. So I probably wouldn't say that. It's more kind of like building a rapport. If we can get in, yes. If not, then fair enough. Okay. There's a bit later on as well when he says, we could get you a drink if you want. We'll give you a drink. And I'm like, stop bribing him. Stop bribing him. Yeah, but at this point, you just got to go with it.
How long do you think it was going to be?
Could do it in half an hour, half an hour.
Yeah, we could probably run around quickly doing half an hour. Sort of drink or something out if you want.
If you want ideas, I've got.
Again, you've got to realise as well at this point, I mean, there are actually two of them, but at this point when we've walked in, there's two guys, and I'm not exactly small, so I'm kind of a big guy, and one of him as well. And it's then avoiding that intimidation type thing. You immediately kind of got to be submissive and make him fully comfortable with talking to you and stuff. I'm glad you said about aggravated trespass and trespass. A lot of people don't understand that, and it's more than a civil matter. You both introduced yourself and explained why you're there. Exactly that. So carry on.
Business cards, you've got deals and stuff like that, so we do. Yeah, I mean, technically, we're not
Yeah,
allowed
so-
to let anyone in. Yeah.
Yeah, so we do carry business cards. I know Colin's got stickers and stuff like that on his website as well. But obviously I've got business cards, which I think I showed you last time, these ones. And it doesn't give much information, it's just the two channels. And it says my email, my website, the two channel names, and then what I do. So it's got like Explorer, YouTuber, Editor on there. So and again, it makes it a bit more... What's the word? Like a legit's not really the word, but it feels a bit more professional, and therefore they should hopefully feel like that's how they can deal with you rather than, oh, fuck off, mate. So yeah, calm the situation down.
So it's a bit awkward.
I mean, you.
So you can see he's sort of saying we're not allowed people in, and it's a bit awkward. And at this point, you can kind of gauge that he's not. He's like, I'm going to get in trouble if I say yes. I don't really want to say yes, but these guys are quite nice. It's that kind of vibe, reading in between the lines of what he's not saying. And by the way, I have blurred these guys' faces for the simple fact that I don't want them getting into trouble. And, obviously, if they have been told they're not allowed to let people in, the last thing I want them to see is themselves on the internet and, people going, oh, look what they did. They were thinking about letting them in for 10 minutes. It's not like we're not here to get them in trouble. So
Could pretend you haven't seen us. How long you don't know how long you're here for?
Well, the trouble is, there's all sorts of things that have been damaged all the way around the building.
Yeah.
And the stuff that's wet. If you were out there with no wire sort of thing, it's one thing, but obviously we can't let you out. If you were in, we can't really let you out of the site. So.
Yeah.
yeah, so that's the other thing as well you've got to think about as well. So when you're on a site and someone's obviously working on that site, they've been authorised to be there, they're not just letting you in and that's it. They're also responsible for your safety. So you've got to remember that as well. Like if someone does say no, it might not be the fact that they don't want to let you in. It might be the fact that they don't want to be responsible in case you hurt yourself. Because they are in charge of the site and you're nothing to do with the site. So he's sort of saying, you know, I can't, if you do come in, it's very wet over there because obviously it's a swimming pool, and I wouldn't be able to let you out of my site. So he's then taken him away from his work and what he should be doing to have to keep an eye on you. So again, it's one of those things, you just got to kind of go with it, and if it is, it is, if it isn't, it isn't. It can either happen or it won't.
Yeah.
I mean, we can just film that bit if that's all right. I mean, yeah, I don't mind.
Also, I don't want to get you guys in trouble, so that's
Yeah.
the most priority. We don't want to get you in trouble, so it's up to you. You know, you can either say yes or say no. If you say no, we'll go. If you say yes, we'll do our thing, and then
We'll do what you want to do in about 10 minutes or something. That's fairly quick if it's just 10 minutes is kind of a bit fun.
So yeah, that's bringing it down to kind of like, rather than us chatting for ages, you know, this is what we'd like to do. You could say yes, and you can say no. No pressure. Either way, we'll either do our thing or we'll go. And we're just making it very, very clear.
it's a little bit fine for minutes.
It's also a case of power as well, putting the power in their hands and not feeling like we're going, let us in the building or we'll do something. That's not what you want. You want them to feel like they can say no and be fine with that, because it's not a problem. So, yeah, just be mindful of how you... Because, again, these aren't like police. These aren't like civil servants. These are just everyday workers trying to do their job. So just be mindful of that. If ever you're going exploring and you do bump into people, don't get arsey with them. Because they're probably there for a legit reason and you're not. So just think of it that way.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to say no, unfortunately.
Okay.
Okay, all right, no problem. Cheers.
Yeah. So he says no, we say no problem, and we go. Very, very simple. I think personally, it's a really good example of how you can get a no and deal with it in a good way. Now, I've seen so many people, especially it tends to be, and this isn't like an ageist thing, but like it tends to be younger kids or younger explorers who will get funny with people, and that just causes issues for you, it causes issues for them. It's just like, do you know what? If it happens, it happens. This is part of the whole nature of things. You might find 6 months down the line, this place becomes accessible again and you can try again. It's just the hobby. You've got to kind of go with things. You can't like force things to happen. It's weird. It's more responsible that there's a point of contact and that it shows who you are. And if anything was to happen, you have it on video. That's the key moment for pros. Yeah, exactly. Which is why, again, I said that I have the GoPro for the simple reason that I can wear it. I mean, sometimes it catches me falling flat on my face, which you will see in a couple of months. There's a video where I was at a wedding venue, I just fell flat on my face. I think I talked about it last week. So you will see that soon. But obviously it catches moments like that, it catches us climbing fences, but it also catches this sort of stuff. So that if there was any issues, like say, for example, he turned around and said, oh, these guys came in and they literally shoved me around and pushed me and took some pictures and left. There's no one else there, apart from his mate, who's probably going to back him up, to say that didn't happen. So you've got to think about it that way as well. It's a very tough thing to sort of manage because it is a grey area. Have to feel myself getting from car to any explorers. I've had police officers say I've been exploring, try and make up claims saying going to pin criminal damage and breaking and entering. Yeah, see, this is another thing that, like I said, my boss is ex-police, so he's also sort of mentioned this to me. And the camera doesn't negate you having done something. You cannot turn around and say that this footage is 100% proof that I didn't do anything, because it depends on when you started the camera. Who's to say that you didn't walk back to the car after you'd done some criminal damage, press record, and then walk back into the place to film it? It's subjective, because obviously it's one of those things that can be altered, or you've got to think about that. Like it will help in terms of evidence, but it's not 100% proof. So yeah. But anyway, enough about this particular video. What about permission in general? How do you think, if you were to ask permission, what sort of places do you think you could ask permission, and how would you go about doing that? I think that's a really interesting thing to sort of ask, because it is not that easy. It really isn't that easy. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it isn't. I mean, there's a few places we've had permission for. Obviously, we did the swimming pool in Birmingham, which is Moseley Baths. And that was actually such a random one, that was. I talked about it before, because literally we were up on our way out to Birmingham anyway. We had a few pins that we wanted to check out. And I knew that Moseley Bars was there because I'd been there before. But when we went last time, they were still having a refurb, so they couldn't let us in. So I thought, well, we're going to Birmingham again. It was after COVID. We'd just been kind of allowed out of lockdown for like the first time. So we decided to go up to Birmingham and do some exploring. So we contacted them. They were still shut. And we were like, is there any way we can like come and have a look around? Because they do allow, we know that they allow explorers to look around. And they were like, sure, not a problem. We were really expecting, because they were closed and they weren't open to the public, that they were going to turn around and say no. But actually, they said yes. So sometimes you can get away with it and you can ask permission and it works out well. But other times, obviously, there's certain places that you can't really ask. And there's certain places that, like I said before, the whole time and effort thing of finding who's involved, even if you know who's involved, it puts another dampener into them saying no. Because, you know, if there is somewhere that you know who owns it, and it's a beautiful building, and you know there's a way in, you know, like, it's all set up and it's perfect, it's ready, then it becomes a question of, do you ask forgiveness after or do you ask before? And this is what somebody said in the chat earlier on. It's very kind of, there's no defined rules. There's no definite way of doing it. It just depends on place to place. Tazer, got a dash, mate. I'll catch up with the rest of the video later, but have a good day, mate. Keep up the good work. Peace out. Thanks for watching, Mohawk, and yes, I'll see you again in the next one. Birmingham's well close to me. Yeah. Well, I will travel over the place. Literally travel all over the place, so I'm not surprised I'll probably come close to quite a few of you guys at some point if you live in the UK. I think the other permission place, I think we've only ever had 2 permission places. The other permission place we had was the Westbourne Bingo Hall in Bournemouth. And that one actually was really funny actually, because the way that we did that wasn't organised by me, it was organised by, I think it was Oscar and Abandoned Seekers. Like it was the Abandoned What You After and Abandoned Seekers. I think it was Abandoned Seekers that sorted it out, but I think it was Matt from Abandoned Seekers who was when he was still with Anthony. And was it him? I can't remember. It was either that or it was Oscar, because I know Oscar used to be an estate agent, so he kind of had good relations with the estate agents in the area. So I think he contacted the estate agent and said, can we have a look round, because the building was up for sale. And the estate agent was perfectly happy for us to do that. But we had to do it like a viewing for, you know, when you go for like a viewing for a house, you get like a half an hour time slot to look around the building. Basically like that. And the estate agent had to come with us the whole way around. And it was absolutely fine for us to film in that half an hour. But we had to kind of do it within half an hour because they had other bookings that day as well. Which, if you've seen that video, you'll see at the very end, because we get there and we literally have to run around. I think I put a 360 camera in the middle of the hall because I literally had half an hour to try and get everything filmed. And I had to try and get as much done as I possibly could in that time. So I had to just chuck a camera down and hope it would get what I needed to while I was walking around with the gimbal. Not this gimbal, I think it was the old gimbal. The gimbal was going all really funny. It was causing issues in that half an hour. I was like, come on, just work. And yeah, that's what we did. We basically sort of had a half an hour time slot and filmed as much as we could in the building. And what we got was what we got. And we actually got quite a bit. I think it was a pretty decent video out of that. And at the very end, like you saw, there was the next people coming in to view the place. And one of the guys recognised me because just previously to that, I'd done the cinemas in Bournemouth and got in the paper for it. So it's such a random one. Really, really random. I think that's the only 2 permission visit places I've had in the entirety of my channel. When you think about, I mean, I don't know how many videos there actually are. Let's have a look. Out of curiosity. So I will check the chat in a second. I know you guys are commenting stuff. So I don't actually know how many videos I've got. I know a lot. I've got a playlist that has all of them on that, so I should say, hopefully. Where are you? 168. So 168 explorers. That feels quite low, actually. I've got 168 in that playlist, so that's accurate. I don't know. Oh, the cat's background. Hello. Oh, both cats. I didn't know they were both in here. Got Willow there as well. Little head popping up. But yeah, 168 explores, so that playlist says, and out of those 168, 2 with permission. So I mean, if I did wait around to ask permission every single time, you wouldn't have any videos to show. There wouldn't be any. Not to mention that sometimes you just can't find someone who owns it. We got child dropped off. I can watch now. Hello. 260. Oh well, there is 260 in total. I meant. Oh, is it 260? It probably is. I don't know. I've got no clue. I'm just going by what the place says, because that's my most popular urban explorations of all time. It's probably, if you're looking at because on the about page it says how many videos, isn't it? Because they're not all urban exploring videos. Don't know. It probably says somewhere. But in terms of explores, because I know some of them aren't. Obviously, like to this one, for example, this isn't an urban exploring video really. What's that? So, would you ring the phone number on the sign to ask? Yes, I have done that. So, excuse me. The what was it? Toys R Us in Southampton is a place that I've been trying to get into for a while, and it's not worth doing now. When they had the Ukraine war started, they had loads of like relief stuff for refugees and stuff inside that. So they had the back doors wide open. And I have actually seen inside now since then, and it is just a giant empty warehouse. There's nothing to show. No signage from Toys R Us, nothing. I think there's a few trolleys at the front. That's literally it. So it's not worth. I've kind of given up on it. But I have been trying to get in that place for a long time. And sometimes when you've had a place that's like that for a long time, you do start looking at other avenues of finding permission to get in. So there's quite often like the signs, especially for like security firms and stuff, you have like the signs, especially they got like because sometimes like electric pin doors where they can still access and use the pin to get inside, which by the way is hilarious because I swear there's somebody who goes round every single one of those places where they've got like these number things for put a pin for the door in and just writes random numbers because every time you go there there'll be like a 4-digit code written on the thing, and you think, how stupid are they? They put the code on there, but it never works. So I reckon there's either they do it, or there's somebody who goes round and just writes random numbers just for the sake of it. Well, the question I would ask though is, have they ever been right? That would be really funny, because what are the odds of that? But yeah, that sort of places, they tend to have security firms and administration firms that look after them, and they do have signage up on the things. And quite a few times I've emailed or I've phoned, and do you know how many replies I've got back from them? None. Not a single one. And this is again the reason why sometimes it is easier just to try and get in somewhere. Obviously we never break in, so it's only if there's a place is open and you can get in without having to like damage anything or, you know, force something. It's one of those things that if it's been sat there a while, there's definitely no way in. We've gone around it 1,000 times. We'll ask, but we don't get replies back. So yeah, it's a tough one. It really is. It's one of those things, like I said, you've got to look at for each individual explore. There's no definite way of doing it. There might be sometimes when you can ask permission and you'll get in, but they're few and far between. Especially when I've said, you know, these people don't know who you are. You know, maybe if I've got like 1 million subs, they might be like, oh yeah, we know who you are. We watch your videos. They're really cool. Come on in. And I think that's why as you get larger, there's channels like, you know, Colin, Neil, Exploring Fighters, unfortunately, and lots of the big channels like that tend to get offers from companies to come and do explores because they know who they are and they've got kind of this credibility behind them. It's questionable in some places, but we won't name names. We're not going to do any slagging matches today. But yeah, sometimes people do get offer stuff because they have this large following, so they have credibility, supposedly. That's mad. Our Toys R Us turned into a huge Home Bargains. Yeah, see, we've got a few Home Bargains in this area, but that one, as far as I know, unless they've completely used it now for like refugee stuff, I know it's just sort of empty and they're using it as storage. But rumour has it the Toys R Us is coming back. I have heard that. Yeah, I have heard that. I mean, when I did a history video on Toys R Us a few years ago, I think I put at the very end of that there was rumours that it was due to come back, and I think it did in the States and in Europe and stuff like that a little bit. I think it's due to come back in the UK soon, which would be pretty cool, I have to admit. The question is, though, would it be the same nostalgic Toys R Us that we're all used to, or would it be completely different? Who knows? Please hit the like. Yes, please do hit the like button. Leave a like if you have. Leave several likes if you've got. If you've got 10 accounts, leave 10 likes. Thanks a lot. We're 3 home bargains our area. Yeah, we've got quite a few. Right. Well, I think that's kind of it. Like, we kind of covered a lot of what I want to say. I mean, if there's anything questions you guys have regarding permission or anything, to be honest, you can ask anything you like even while I'm here. But if you've got any questions, please do ask them now. Otherwise, we'll kind of round off in the next sort of 10 minutes or so, I think. Because I don't want to waffle on about the same stuff, going over the same stuff. I just kind of wanted to show this and talk a little bit and get your guys' opinion on what you think and what you think, how easy it is to get permission, etc. Because having been there, done it, like, I'm only giving my opinion on what I've experienced. If there's a better way of doing it and you guys know it, let me know. That'd be brilliant. Absolutely brilliant to be able to get more permission for places and get into places like that. That would be fantastic. But apart from like sending random emails and contacting people and phoning people, it's just, for me personally, I find it's not really a doable thing. The one in Sheffield is now a Smith's Toy Superstore. Yeah, we got one of those as well, but that was a completely different store. They're not bad. Smiths aren't too bad, but I don't know. It's something about Toys R Us that just has that like nostalgic feel to it. I think you have to be over a certain age to kind of feel it. And I'm coming up for 35 in October. Getting old. Have you managed to film any more since we spoke? No. So at the moment, I've still got. So we've got the next video is the Pink Mansion. That's going up on the 1st of July. That's where it's going up. It's already up, but it's going to go on a premiere on the 1st of July. I'm already working on the next one. In fact, the next one is almost done. So I might, if I can get out exploring, which I haven't done recently at all, I might get out and get out exploring. I might release that one early, but we'll see. We'll see how we do. Like I said, I want to make sure you guys got videos to the end of the year at least. It's not like I like doing monthly videos. I don't want to make you wait for videos. I'd love to sort of just go, yeah, here's a video ready, go, boom. But unfortunately, I want to make sure I've got enough content. And at the moment, I was actually talking to Oscar this morning about how he's doing and stuff because his leg's obviously still busted. And we've got Neil, who's kind of dropped off the scene a little bit. He does do exploring, and it's just not that regular. Anthony's he's just changed job. He's left the army. And he's about to move away. So his exploring days not necessarily are over, but for us, he's going to live up in Bristol somewhere, which is a bit further away for us to come. So, or for him to come, I should say, because he's the one that picks us up. It's just not really doable for him. Oscar's obviously injured at the moment, and Colin, I'm not really exploring with at the moment anyway. So, it's a tough one. There's a lot of people who are used to, like literally about 20 people that I used to explore with that don't explore or just barely do it anymore. So I need to sort of make some new connections with some new people in my area, I think, to try and sort of get out a bit more. Because even if I learnt to drive, it's not something I'd want to do on my own anyway. I like the whole camaraderie and going out with friends and stuff most of the time. Next week's video, by the way, I've already got an idea about what I'm going to do for next week's stream. I was thinking about doing, because I've got another bit of footage. I've got one more bit of footage that hasn't been shown. But it's something that I was planning on going back and finishing off, because we did this abandoned building which has a lot of stuff in it. It's actually a really cool location, but it was at the end of the Wales trip. It was quite late at night. Neil and Anthony had filmed the place already because they got there before me and Colin because we went to KFC, and we got there and they were just messing about a bit. Like, and I know that sounds like an old funny. Oh, look, they're having fun. Don't you know. Moaning about them having fun. But the thing is, when you're trying to film something and you're trying to sort of do it in a way that makes sense, it's got like a chronological order to it. People messing around and jumping out of things is fine a couple of times, but when they're doing it constantly, you can't film. So I stopped filming, and I'd like to go back and do it properly. But I do still have that footage, which I was thinking about doing next week, is showing that, because it's a cool place. I don't want the footage to go to waste, but at the same time, it's like, I love the camaraderie. I love having my friends around. Sometimes I wish they would fuck off. Let me film. That was very much like that kind of thing that time. Hey Smith, so expensive. So I don't find it that expensive. I think it's roughly the same sort of prices. As I say, the same sort of prices. Toys R Us obviously is a few years ago now, but obviously prices go up. At least it's cheaper than petrol right now. Speaking of Toys R Us, I used to love their TV ad. Yeah, I do. I think when I did the whole history thing, I included the TV ad on that because it was brilliant. That Toys of a Million, all under one roof. It's called Toys R Us. It's brilliant. What's the one after Pink Mansion, or is it a secret? So, like I said, the one after Pink Mansion is a abandoned truck stop. So it's basically a load of buses and some cars. There's a whole like yard and stuff. Colin's done it, I think. So if you've seen his video, you might have seen it. But we went there and we're exploring these buses, and it's literally on the side of a really busy road in Wales, and it's got like an old diner or something, or an old shop, which is basically falling apart next to it. So we just had a look around those, and there's some really cool bits and pieces in there. Some like we got on a lot of the buses and could look around properly, and then got caught at the end. But I won't say too much about that. Unfortunately, I didn't film that. Although I might see if I can grab some footage off of Neil, because he was actually live on TikTok doing a stream at the time when we got caught. So if he's got that or some way of downloading that, I might see if I can grab that off him and see if we can. But yeah, so that's what's coming after the Pink Mansion. Go on the Facebook group to see who's around. I've done that. Honestly, I've done that so many times, and there are a few people that I do chat to, but I haven't been out with them yet. Either that or like our schedules don't match, because I'm not free weekends. That's the biggest issue with me. So I've got the kids, so weekends I'm just not free to explore. I've got them. So it's sort of Thursday, Fridays are my days where I go exploring. If they're working Monday to Friday and free the weekends, it kind of doesn't really match. I explore in Dorset, and sometimes I go out of the area, but try and stay close to home, as not much gets filmed down this way. Okay. Yeah, that's the same with me, because like Southampton, which is where I come from, so I've got a gassy from the Mountain Dew, not a sponsor. But Southampton, where I live, there are a few abandoned places, and I've done some good ones. Like I did the old bank vault, which was fantastic. I think that's one of my favourite places I did in Southampton. I did an abandoned school as well a couple of times. That was quite good. So there are some good places, but they're few and far between. In Southampton, they get sealed up so quick. I also, this is going to sound really bad, but I have a little bit of a thing. So Southampton's not too bad, but there are some places, like talking about 5 minutes down the road from where I live, and I've got a thing about not shitting on my doorstep. As bad as it sounds, I don't like to explore too close to where I live. I don't know why. I don't know why, because it doesn't really matter. But for some reason, I don't like doing it. I like Southampton's far enough away from me, so half an hour to an hour away from where I live is fine. But I don't like doing it literally in the area where people know me and stuff like that. I just prefer to do it elsewhere. I don't know why. It's a weird thing. I have weird quirks, but I don't know. Don't watch Colin anymore. Lost a lot of respect for the bloke, but won't go there. Yeah, let's not go there. It's a shame, because I do like Colin. I do like Colin a lot, but it's one of those things where it's like I would prefer to have people around me who want to be around me because of who I am, not because of where I am on YouTube. For me, that's frustrating. If you don't like me for who I am, don't explore with me. Simple as that. Don't spend time with me. You can download live off TikTok, yes. Okay, well, I'll ask Neil if he can give us the footage. He might say no, but we'll see. I always like to ask. I don't know, I'm just going to rip it down. See, I ask permission. Today's whole video. Not a sponsor. I've got Tango Peachy Berry. It's my favourite new drink. I've also got, I brought some food up, but I haven't eaten it because I think it's rude to do it on stream. But I've got mint fingers. Chocolate fingers, not mint fingers. My fingers aren't mint. They smell fine. I was joking, all right? Before you look at me, what are you sniffing your fingers for? And I've got some crisps as well, but again, very noisy on stream, so I'll eat those afterwards. And I promise I definitely won't eat the whole pack of biscuits. Totally agree with you. I'm a TikTok addict. Right, guys, I think we're going to call it there. So we've been going for about 50 minutes now, so I think we've covered everything I need to. But thank you for stopping by. If you guys are liking these streams, please hit the like button and make sure you pop in next week. When is the video going up? It's the 1st, isn't it? What is the date today? So I'm trying to think when the video is going up. So actually, yeah, next week the video is going up, so there probably won't be a live next week. I might say that's the week after, because we've got the video that goes up on Friday next week. So a week today is when the next video goes up. So we won't have a live stream. Probably be the week after that. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again next time. See ya!